Erling Haaland was born in 2000. Norway's last World Cup was in 1998. The greatest striker on the planet has never played in a World Cup. Not once. While Messi was lifting trophies and Ronaldo was breaking records, and an entire generation of footballers were defining their legacies on the biggest stage in sport, Haaland was watching from the outside. A player with 55 international goals at 25 years old. A player who scored 16 goals in qualifying, twice as many as any other player in Europe. A player who dismantled Italy 4-1 on their own pitch just to get here. And yet, until this summer, Haaland had never experienced a World Cup as a player. That changes on June 11, 2026. And the football world has absolutely no idea what is coming. Norway have not been at a World Cup since France 1998. That team shocked the world by eliminating Brazil in the group stage. They reached the round of 16. And then for 28 years Norwegian football went quiet. Haaland grew up hearing about that team, about what they achieved, about what it meant to a small nation of 5 million people to compete against the best in the world. And for his entire international career, 55 goals, countless qualifying campaigns, that stage was denied to him. Failed qualifications, narrow misses, heartbreak after heartbreak. Until November 2025, when Norway beat Italy 4-1 in Milan, and the wait was finally over. Haaland scored twice that night, then dropped to his knees on the San Siro pitch and wept. And in that moment, the entire football world understood what this World Cup means to one man and one nation. Subscribe to Goalline Stories right now, because this is one of the most compelling stories of the entire tournament. To understand what Haaland means to Norway, you have to understand what Norway means to Haaland. His father, Alfie Haaland, was a professional footballer who played for Manchester City. In April 2001, Roy Keane launched a deliberate two-footed tackle on Alfie during a Premier League match that ended his career. Keane later admitted in his autobiography that the tackle was intentional revenge for a foul Alfie had committed years earlier. Erling was 1 year old when his father's career was destroyed by that challenge. He grew up watching his father walk with a limp, and the son who inherited the football gene channeled everything, the talent, the obsession, the relentless hunger, into becoming something his father never got the chance to be, the greatest striker in the world. But here is what makes Haaland different from every other superstar in world football. He chose Norway. Every year, clubs and agents suggested he could have qualified for international football through other routes. He never entertained it. Norway was non-negotiable. He said publicly that representing his country was the most important thing in his career, outside of winning trophies. That is not something most footballers say. And it is certainly not something most footballers mean. Haaland meant it. He sat out international breaks when he was injured, rather than risk his fitness for qualifiers he was not ready for. He came back the moment he was fit. He scored in every single qualifying game for 2026. Every one. And when Norway finally qualified, he did not celebrate like a man who had just ticked a box. He celebrated like a man who had been waiting his entire life for one specific moment. Because he had been, and now the moment is finally here. Norway's group at the 2026 World Cup is one of the most fascinating in the entire tournament. France, Senegal, Iraq. On paper, France are the overwhelming favorites to top the group. Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, one of the deepest squads in world football. And they face Norway in the final group game. Which means if Norway win their first two matches against Iraq and Senegal, which the bookmakers fully expect them to do, the last group game against France becomes the most anticipated match of the entire group stage. The best striker on the planet against the most talented squad in the tournament. Haaland versus France. A nation of 5 million people against a footballing superpower. That match alone is worth the entire tournament. But Haaland is not facing this World Cup alone. Norway have quietly assembled the most dangerous squad in their history. Martin Odegaard, Arsenal's captain and one of the best creative midfielders in the Premier League, pulls the strings in midfield. Alexander Sorloth provides a powerful physical presence alongside Haaland in attack. The fullbacks are mobile and technically excellent. And the manager Ståle Solbakken has built a system specifically designed to maximize what Haaland does best: space in behind, quick transitions, and the kind of direct football that gives defenders nightmares. In qualifying, Norway scored 37 goals in 8 games. That is not a coincidence. That is a system working exactly as designed. France, Spain, Brazil, the traditional powers are being warned. Norway are not here to make up the numbers. They are here because one man refused to accept that his country did not belong on this stage, and he is about to prove it to the entire world. The question every football analyst is asking right now is simple: how do you stop Haaland? The answer, based on 3 seasons of evidence in the Premier League and Champions League, is that you largely cannot. He is 6'4". He runs the 100 meters in under 11 seconds. His finishing from inside the box is the most clinical in world football. And the thing that makes him truly terrifying is not his physical gifts. It is his movement. He reads space before it exists. He arrives in positions that defenders have not yet identified as dangerous. By the time a center-back realizes where Haaland is, the ball is already in the net. But World Cups are different from club football. The pressure is unlike anything players experience at club level. The scrutiny is total. Every mistake is amplified. Every missed chance becomes a national conversation. And for Haaland, this World Cup carries a weight that goes beyond normal sporting pressure. He is not just representing himself. He is representing 28 years of Norwegian football, waiting for this moment. 5 million people who have been watching him drag their country toward this tournament for years. A father whose own career was cut short before he ever got to experience what his son is about to experience. That is not the kind of pressure that disappears with talent or preparation. It is the kind of pressure that either breaks a player or transforms them into something legendary. Every great footballer has a defining tournament, a moment where the world stops and watches and understands exactly who this person is. For Haaland, that moment is now, and the outcome will define his legacy in ways that no Premier League title or Champions League trophy ever could. Norway's biggest obstacle is not France. It is not Senegal. It is history itself. Small nations at World Cups follow a predictable pattern. They arrive with momentum and belief. They win their opening game. The nation goes wild. And then in the second round, they face a traditional power, and the gap in quality becomes impossible to ignore. That pattern has ended the dreams of dozens of nations who arrived at tournaments with genuine hope and left with a painful education in the difference between qualifying and competing. Norway know this, their manager knows this, and Haaland knows this better than anyone. But here is what makes 2026 different from every previous tournament Norway could have attended. The 48-team format means the path to the quarterfinals has never been more open. Upsets are more likely. Fatigue among the traditional powers is a real factor across a longer tournament. And a team built around the most physically dominant striker on the planet, a player who gets stronger as tournaments progress and defenses tire, is perfectly suited to a format that rewards efficiency and directness over possession and style. Norway do not need to beat France. They need to beat Iraq and Senegal, and then see what happens. If they reach the knockout rounds with Haaland firing the bookmakers at 35-1, suddenly look very generous. One moment, one game, one man in the right position at the right time. That is all it takes at a World Cup. And if there is one player on earth capable of creating that moment out of nothing, it is the striker who spent 25 years waiting for the chance to try. The tournament has not even started, and Norway are already the most compelling story in it. When Norway walk out for their opening game against Iraq on June 17th in Foxborough, Massachusetts, something important will happen. Erling Haaland will stand in a tunnel at a World Cup for the first time in his life. He will hear the noise. He will feel the pressure. He will look around at teammates who have waited just as long as he has for this moment. And then he will walk out onto that pitch, and the 28-year wait will be over. Not just for him. For every Norwegian fan who spent nearly 3 decades watching their country fail to qualify. For his father, who never got to experience a World Cup as a player. For a generation of Norwegian footballers who were just good enough to dream, but never quite good enough to get there. The greatest striker in the world has never scored a World Cup goal. That statistic will change this summer. The only question is how many and how far Norway go. At 35-1 to win the tournament, they represent the most emotionally compelling bet in the entire market. Not because they will necessarily win it, but because with Haaland leading the line in the form of his life, in a 48-team format that rewards exactly the kind of football Norway play, anything is possible. Football loves a story, and the story of a boy born 2 years after his country's last World Cup, who dragged them back to the tournament almost single-handedly, who wept on the pitch in Milan when they finally qualified, who carries 28 years of national hope on his shoulders every time he pulls on that shirt. That is the kind of story the World Cup was invented to tell. If you want more World Cup stories that nobody else is telling, subscribe to Goalline Stories. We will see you in the next chapter.